Hey Debbie, how's your day going so far?
It's going well. How is yours?
It's going awesome. Well, I am really excited to have Debbie Chen here. She is the founder of Hydrostasis, which we are going to learn about in this conversation. So, Debbie, before we dive into your current company, take us back a little bit and tell us about your background. I know you have a PhD, which is amazing. So, talk to us about the work you did before starting your business.
Sure. So I started out at UC San Diego with a bachelor in biomedical engineering, and then went on to Tufts University in Boston. So I went from the beach to
The cold.
yeah, but Tufts was an amazing experience. I love the city of Boston. And so I did my PhD at Tufts. And then realized I just really miss San Diego. And so my husband and I came back to San Diego. I did a couple postdocs, one at the UCSD Medical School, and then also another one at the Scripps Institute of Oceanography. So most of my projects have been on developing optical imaging methods and devices. So I've done hardware, software, analog, digital, you name it. I've been on several really interesting projects. My thesis was on developing a diagnostic for peripheral neuropathy. And then my project at UCSD Medical School was on diabetic neuropathy in the Department of Pathology. And at Scripps, I developed I helped develop the in water, so in situ plankton microscope. And they use a liquid lens to actually scan the water. So you're actually able to get volumes of images, and you actually get to look at this plankton in the ocean live with sort of these crystalline structures and stuff. So that's super fascinating and never been done before. And then I went on to doing drug discovery at Sanford Burnham. So a lot of my experiences have been sort of imaging based. And then I just started feeling like, not all of my sort of skills were being utilized in each of these positions. And so, I felt like, oh, if I was in, an engineering position, not a lot of the bio part of me was being used, and then I realized, I really have all of these soft skills and I love talking to people and working with people. And then as an engineer, especially in an academic lab, it's sort of like not as well utilized. And so I started exploring all of these things, and, then Hera Hub came into my world. And I met you and signed up at Hera Hub and met a lot of wonderful people. And so that sort of like started my startup journey.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we are excited to be part of that startup journey. So I also want to don't forget, you've got some really cool personal things that you do, like
Yeah.
Muay Thai. Am I correct? Yeah. Muay Thai fighting.
Right. So, so the backstory sort of, and a lot of this is part of the journey as I discover, what my personal motivations are and all of this stuff. And then I'm still continuing to discover, but, I went through sort of a difficult time in my personal life around 2012 through 14. And then I just really felt sort of like weak, like and physically weak. And then I had my first child, and I was just like, I just got to get in shape. I got to figure out what it is, that I want to do in life. And I just, I keep driving past this gym down Miramar. And
okay, wait, I want to hold on for a second, because which is what is so awesome about this is, I mean, I love, you're like the motivation, but most people would like go out for a run or like, you know what I mean? But like, yeah. I love that you are a Muay Thai fighter. That is freaking awesome. And
Thank you.
If anybody who's watching this doesn't know what Muay Thai fighting is, go, look it up. It is freaking hardcore, and you are badass, Debbie.
Well, I didn't intend to start fighting. I joined the gym just because, I wanted to, get in shape, right? And honestly, I thought like, oh, cardio kickboxing, I could do that, right? And of course, the cardio kickboxing is not jazzercise at a Muay Thai gym. It was real cardio and real kickboxing. And eventually I was just fascinated. As a scientist, I'm always about learning new things. And so I was fascinated, like, why is it that, people can learn these techniques and just it's beautiful, the way it's like an art. And so the way people were kicking and punching, and I'm like, how come I can't do that, right? And so I just got fascinated with the technique. And then eventually it turned into, okay, like I kind of want to see if I can do this, and then, I just got hooked. It's just this amazing community of people that are, learning together and super supportive, and much unlike the startup community. And so I actually find a lot of parallels between fighting and, the startup, world and founder world, because a lot of it is perseverance and trusting the process and, and just grit and, keep going, all of these things that people keep talking about. And there's just these parallels, and I just love it.
That's awesome. I cannot wait I know you've recently had a few fights, right?
Yeah.
I'm like so excited to go see you. So please keep us posted on your next fight. We have another Hera Hub member who lives all the way down in South Bay, Tina Pettigrew. She's a Muay Thai fighter as well.
Nice.
And she actually has a fight coming up at the 4 Point Sheridan, I think it is, next month. So I'll be sure to share your information with each other, because I would imagine,
I'd love to connect with her.
Yeah, I would imagine there's probably more men in Muay Thai fighting than there are women. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely.
Kind of like the startup world.
Yes, exactly. And also size too, because there's not a lot of small women that fight. So I'm always looking for, opponents that are my size. And then you have to look for opponents that are your experience level as well. So that's they make matches, is experience and size. So
yeah, makes sense. Cool. Well, let's dive into your business. Tell us how you came up with the idea and what is the product.
Yeah, so the idea came to me when I was working on my thesis, so probably 2007-ish, so a while ago. And I just remember looking at these signals and seeing that there's this hydration signal. And of course, at the time, I was looking, at peripheral nerves and blood flow and all this stuff. And nobody, at the time in my lab or me was really interested in hydration. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting, shelve that for 10 years. And then when I started fighting, I just realized that I needed more water than a lot of my teammates. And it turns out that women in general need more water. And I experienced that personally when I was pregnant with my kids, that like I would constantly feel like I was fainting unless I was drinking a ton of water. And so, then I started thinking, why am I cramping? And, and then there's no really good way of monitoring hydration. There's been a couple, products out there, but nobody's really sort of understood it from an elite competitive athlete angle. And so I decided that, I can put my science to use and my, athletic experience to use. And sort of that's how it started. So the product itself is a wearable sensor. It's optical based. And the athletes will wear it. So we're a B2B and we're targeting collegiate teams initially. The reason why is because the collegiate teams are really data driven. And then they have, sort of the programs to sort of bring technologies on to their teams to get that performance edge, as well as the athlete safety angle, because these are student athletes that are under sort of NCAA standards, and they're very interested in, keeping our athletes safe and injury-free. And so we are targeting collegiate teams initially, and then we're sort of laying the groundworks to actually enter into the healthcare market, because for me, I'm a biomedical engineer. I'm always thinking about how to make a bigger impact in the medical community. And I can actually see this as a standard of measurement, because, as a wearable, you can use it on, the geriatric community, and the pediatric community. And actually the nephrology community has been coming out to me as well, because you have to be, really on top of your hydration if you have issues with your kidneys. So there's a lot of impact in the healthcare as well, but we're, initially targeting sports because that's sort of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. That's an awesome target market to start with. Debbie, do you happen to have the device handy? Can you do a show and tell a little bit so folks can see it?
Let's see.
Sorry to put you on the spot here. And, I should have requested that prior.
Right. I have an older prototype. I don't have cool, let's see.
I know it's evolved. I remember when you first came into Hera Hub and you brought it in, and you actually attended a business launch boot camp that we did. Was that last summer?
Yeah, so I don't have the actual prototype here, but this is the 3D print of the chip itself. So it looks like this. It's a disc shape. And the way that I designed it is so that you can actually put it anywhere on the body that is comfortable for you. And so you can put it on your arm, you can put it on your chest. And what we do is actually take a baseline before you start a workout. And the reason why is because we are using your own baseline as a calibration for your own optimal hydration range. So our algorithms using your baseline data can sort of zone in on your optimal range. And then when you go into your training session, when you're going in and out of your range, either overhydration or dehydration, we'll alert you. Also alert your coaches as well. So your coaches will be standing on the sidelines, sort of overlooking the entire team's hydration status. And then our devices also will alert the athletes as well. So going back to the business workshop, that was my first business workshop. And thank you so much, Felena, because that was like, I think I signed up on a Friday or something.
I think you did. Yeah, you just came right in. You're like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, and then you were like, okay, we're having this thing on the weekend. And I said, well, I don't know if I can attend the full weekend. I didn't anticipate this. And you were just like, just come. Just come and do it. And I did. And it was so great. So thank you so much for really giving me that first initial, start.
Awesome. Oh, I'm glad. So speaking of that, let's talk about all the awesome resources that you've been able to tap into here in San Diego, and just kind of talk about, how you see the startup scene here, what's happening, how it's helped you.
Oh man, I cannot be more grateful for the San Diego startup community. As a newcomer, I just knew nothing. So I started out at Hera Hub, got connected to the community, started asking around, the gurus at Hera Hub connected me with the right IP attorney, the right manufacturing people. Like, I just got connected there. And then Felena, you introduced me to Sylvia Ma, who is the director of Hera Labs. So that's the second business accelerator. Well, the workshop was a weekend one. The business accelerator at Hera Labs was a 12-week experience. And so that really challenged me to do a lot of work on the business side, because I'm always, the scientist and the product person, and really challenged me to do, every aspect of the business. And through that, I got connected with a bunch of new founders and Sylvia's network. And then right around then, Sylvia, along with Vidya Dinamani and Alison Long-Patine, started at Astra, and they encouraged me to apply to their second cohort, which is their life science cohort. And I honestly didn't think I was going to get selected because, you know, I was so early, didn't really quite have everything fleshed out. And, you know, Sylvia was like, just apply, you know, you never know. And
I love it.
due diligence. And I mean, they picked 3 out of, I think, 90 companies or something like that.
Wow.
I was just honestly very surprised that I was selected. And I just took that for everything that it was worth. I you know, did a ton of work. It was really, really challenging, honestly. 12 weeks of very intense work on the business, but not just the business, because Ad Astra is actually very focused on the founder herself and teaching us how to look at, you know, the startup ecosystem through a gender lens, because as we all know, there's not a lot of female startup founders, and then there's even less female investors and female VCs and female angels. And so looking through the ecosystem and learning how to navigate it as a female founder is very different. And so they taught us how to do all of that through mock investor meetings, how to you know, think about your financials, what exactly is a convertible note. Like I did not know because I had no business background. I was purely a lab scientist, you know, and after that 12 weeks, man, I really just felt like, you know, combined with all of the other experiences, I just felt like, okay, now I'm ready. You know, I'm ready to really just go with the business. I am confident in my pitches. I'm confident as a CEO. I can run my own team. I know what my company culture is, and everything is so aligned with my own personal values. And I'm just so blessed and so grateful for all of the people involved, male and female, you know, because most of our mentors that came through, honestly, were male.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's not about just the female. We want to empower the female. And I feel super empowered by my female network, but also, you know, all of the males that were there supporting us along the way. And for example, I'm here at the Sandbox, and Shane Scaff has been one of my, you know, main mentors that just sort of like helped me out along the way. And he invited me to the Sandbox to work out of after I finished at Astra, and I needed a space to work out of. So yeah, just everybody providing mentorship, and, you know, I've been trying to give back as well. So I was the entrepreneur in residence for this cohort for Hera Labs that is just graduating.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's really, so I'm sort of like stepping into more of the mentorship roles as well, just to try to give back to the community. And tonight, actually, I'm giving the keynote to the demo night for this graduating class. So I'm super excited.
So awesome. I'm so bummed I can't be there. I'm literally, when we finish this conversation, I'm driving to Phoenix. Because as you know, we have a location in Phoenix. Well, and then I'm going to the Philippines.
Oh,
so,
you're so busy,
no,
but it's great.
Yeah. No, but I'm
great.
so proud of you, Debbie. That's so awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just amazed at how much I've been able to grow, and it really is just because of all of these people supporting me and pushing me along. Because quite honestly, I did not want to do it. Right? I didn't into the leadership role sometimes because it's hard. It's really challenging. It's scary. Like, I'm terrified at all of these things that I'm doing. But, you know, with all this help along the way, you know, you just can't help but succeed because, you know, you have all of these resources. And I've also just, I started going to the North County coffee meeting. NOCO, and met a bunch of great people there. And like I said, so, I mean, all of these resources, right? SDVG has been super helpful, just their events that they put on. Yeah, so many things. And the social media that sort of like helps support the local startups as well. So yeah, I cannot thank the community enough.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Debbie. So my last question for you is, words of advice for somebody who maybe was in similar shoes that you were in, say, a year ago? Because you have accomplished so much in the last year. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
What's your advice for somebody who's sitting here watching this and it's like, I don't know if I can do it?
It's the same advice that everyone gives, right? Like, just do it, right? Because it's scary. It's scary for everyone. I'm sure when you go travel, it's scary for you to try to develop, your new business strategies and stuff like that, right? And so, and you've been in the business for a long time versus for me, I've only been in the business for, about a year. And so anytime along the way, the challenges just keep getting bigger and scarier, right? And so it's scary for everyone. And so it's kind of nice to know that, because you always look up to your mentors and you're like, wow, they've got it together. And then you realize they're scared of different things.
True.
So you start off small and you're scared of these smaller things and you just keep going. And then now you have bigger things and bigger challenges. And then those are even scarier, but then you just keep going. And so that's why I'm saying is like, find your support system. And there's so much support, especially in San Diego. I don't know what it is like in any other city, but honestly, I don't really care because I love San Diego so much and it's just been so supportive. I can't imagine being anywhere else. And yeah, just find your people and like sort of trust those people, right? Because they're going to push you outside of your comfort zone. They will, if they're the right people, right? They're going to push you outside of the comfort zone and you're not going to like it. And it's going to be sucky sometimes and you're going to make mistakes. And if they're good mentors and good supporters, they're going to let you make those mistakes as well. Right. And so, yeah, just keep going. And, if something doesn't work out, it's okay, and just keep learning. And I've made so many mistakes. But, with the sort of the spin, everybody says that the startup founder has sort of this crazy positivity, like viewpoint on things, right? It's like, oh, that didn't work. It's a huge fail. Great. I'm so happy. Right. And that's been happening to me quite a bit. And I think that's helped me a lot from just picking myself up. And not to say that, sometimes I'm really bummed, and sometimes I'm really stressed out. But this is all normal. And, you just call up your friends or mentors and say, hey, dealing with this, how can I do this? And, a lot of people just are willing to help out. And so, yeah, that's all I can say is just keep going, reach out to the right people, find your group of people, find your group of founder friends that really know at your stage what it's like. Mentors are great, but they're sort of, a little bit more removed from where you're at. And so finding someone that's maybe a couple months ahead of you is super important. And so for me, like my Hera Labs cohort has been super helpful because we went through this, right? And then my Astra cohort has been super helpful because we went through this together. And we're all sort of at the same stage and dealing with the same issues. And we just call each other up and, cry and laugh. And
I love it.
Yeah. So that's what I would say.
That's awesome. Awesome advice. Thank you so much for your time, Debbie. It was awesome to connect with you. And we are very lucky to have you in the San Diego startup ecosystem. Hope to see you at a Startup San Diego event very, very soon.
Absolutely. I try to make all the events, and thank you again, Felena, and San Diego Startup Week for all of your support. And again, I just cannot, thank the community enough. So I'm very happy to be here.
All right, we are going to wrap up. Let's see. We're still recording. You got to tap dance now, actually. No, I'm teasing. Here we go. There we go. Thanks, Debbie.